Yes, now my people, welcome back to the Physique Podcast, episode 14, and we have a great guest today, I may add. Ibrahim Ramsey.
Yeah.
Yes, the owner of Creed Online Coaching.
Yeah.
And basically, the reason why Ibrahim's on today is because we share a very similar story and very similar timeline in regards to when we first came to Bali, staying in Bali, living in Bali. And we're both online coaches. We do it in slightly different ways. Mm-hmm. But today, in this episode, we're going to talk about why Bali. So, first of all, introduce yourself.
Thank you, bro. Pleasure to be here, honestly. Like, very, very cool. Yeah, very, very cool. It's going to be sick. And yeah, Ibrahim, originally from the UK, born and raised in Oxford. And I'm half Iranian. So my mum is English, but my dad's Iranian. And yeah, just always felt like a black sheep, to be honest.
Yeah.
Growing up, I just didn't fit the mold. Anytime I was doing anything, I was just feeling like either nobody else wants to do it or everybody else is just talking about it and no one's actually really like got any action behind their words or conviction behind what they're saying.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing almost everything by myself. I have to give crazy credit to my family because they kept me on check, stopped me from falling off the path, and, you know, just always had my best interests at heart, even if it didn't seem like it in the moment, you know, like I now 100% believe in tough love. Like growing up, it was fully tough love. And in the moment, you're like, this person must genuinely hate me. But you don't see it as tough love in that moment. No. But looking back on it, eternally grateful for my family and the people.
Are we talking both parents?
Both parents, mainly my dad, because my mum actually passed away in 2014. So sadly passed away from cancer. But to be honest, she was the rock, and she always used to say, "You're my handsome young man. If anyone ever does anything to you, flatten them." So she gave me full permission from a young age to just like stand up for yourself.
It's on site.
Yeah, it actually was, bro. It actually was. It got me in a lot of trouble because I was like, "Yo, Bubsy told me to, man."
Yeah, listen, I got permission.
Like, yeah, exactly. I had permission from day dot. My dad used to be the opposite. He used to be like, "I can't believe you've done that." Da-da-da. My mum used to be in the back like, "Go on, son." Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, for that, I'm eternally grateful. And yeah, like I said, just felt like the black sheep, and it felt like I was clouded. There was a ceiling put on me by all of the people that I was trying to do things with, and no one saw the vision, to be honest. No one saw the vision. So yeah, the backstory for me, I guess, when it comes to my coaching and obviously, you know, how I got to where I am, is I started in a park because I didn't really rate gyms at the time. Like, I'll be honest, bro. When I first went to the gyms and I saw the level of PTs in Pure Gym, because that was the closest one to my house, I was scared for people, bro. Like, I actually went up to one guy during his session and I said to the lady, like, "Please don't do this exercise because it is going to hurt you."
Yeah.
Like, she couldn't do a normal push-up, and he said, "Let's maybe add weight because then it will push you down and then you'll come back up."
No fucking way.
And I was like, no. I heard it and I was like, "Listen, please don't do that."
Please.
Like, yeah, and then never wanted to be a PT. I saw it and was like, nah. I went into banking and started my journey as a banker and everything, and realized this is even more of a trap, man. Like, honestly. So yeah, then after work, I would leave ASAP and I would go straight to the park. And I used to put on my Instagram, like, kind of when Instagram was the first a thing, if anyone wants to come to the park and train, feel free. I'm training in the park. You can come with me and you can do my session. No one came for maybe like 6 months, right? And then random people used to see me, and I would always train topless. I had a thing in my head. I need to make it slightly harder in every way possible. So if it was cold, I always trained with my top off because it was like, it's hard. If it rained, I would take my top off. If it was snowing, I would take my top off because I was like, I have to make it slightly harder for myself. Yeah. You know, the bars were freezing. You have to grip them, you know, no gloves, no nothing like that. So I just made it slightly harder for myself. People then saw my physique, started coming up to me saying, you know, "What do you do? Who do you train? How do you do it?" I was like, "Bro, you see this bar and this tree? This is all I use." And they were like, "Nah, that's bullshit." I said, "Bro, like, come along." So people started to come along. A couple people continued coming, and then one of them said, "You should be a coach." I said, "Bro, I've seen the level of coaches. I don't want to do it." He was like, No, please, please, please. And I said, "Honestly, I'm fine. I really like doing what I'm doing right now. I don't even want any money for it. Like, I'm just happy to help you guys, you know?" And then he said, "I'll pay for you to become a coach." Wow. And I was like, where's the catch?
What an offer.
Yeah. I was like, where's the catch? And he was like, no catch, bro. Honestly, no catch. I still get goosebumps to this day because like that was the literal turning point into where this all happened. And his name is Mumtaz. Still remember the guy. And he came to my house with 1.2K in cash, handed me this cash, and then just disappeared. I didn't see him for like a year and a half after that.
Mad.
It was mad. Honestly, he was like, go and be a coach. That's what you need to do. And I went to all my friends and I was like, who knows this guy, right? Because it was super random.
Yeah,
I was like, is he going to come back to me and be like, I gave you money? You know, because where I'm from, like, obviously, you know, if people aren't just handing out money like that.
No one does that.
No one's doing
Doesn't matter
that.
if you're in Oxford or fucking
Genuinely.
Sheffield.
Yeah, genuinely. No one's giving money out like that. So this guy was a godsend.
Wow.
Anyway, lockdown happened shortly after that. So I did the online course and I started training people from my garden. And because we couldn't go to the park, they had like put the fences around the park. So I had next to nothing in my garden, but I had one of these portable pull-up bars. So I trained people in there and I trained them for £5. Literally, I was just like, here, just come to my house for £5. I had loads of people coming, and my neighbor was like, I'm calling the police. You're doing some weird shit.
I had the same
right?
COVID was imaginary. I had people on my Instagram DMs.
Yeah.
Literally saying to me, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Breaking the rules.
Yeah.
And I was like,
do you know what the turning point for me was? And I realized I'm not going to listen to anyone, is because all of the people that were coming to my house were saying that, thank you for doing this because this is saving my mental health.
This is literally the best day of my life.
Yeah, literally.
Part of my day is actually coming to your house and training.
Yeah.
Same, but I had the same. Fortunately, I was borrowing equipment from the gym I was PTing before COVID. So I had a leg up in that respect.
Yeah.
And then people would see me training with this guy called Josh, who me and him at the time were very close, and he basically had a house share. We used his garden.
Yeah.
We'd post training videos, and people would just be berating me, going, "What are you doing? You're fucking making it worse. You're the problem. Yeah, such a big issue." Yeah. And I'm like, "Is it affecting you?" No. Yeah. So leave it the fuck out.
Yeah.
I personally, that was like you said, the first time that you really get an understanding of how many people are such sheep.
Yeah.
Because they're only telling you it's a problem because they're being told it's a problem.
Yeah, exactly. They haven't thought for themselves.
They haven't gone, oh, Stephen's training in his back garden, but that's a really bad thing for me. They just go, well, I'm being told to stay inside, so therefore you should stay inside.
Yeah, you should do the same.
Because you're not following the system and you're not following what people are telling you to do, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Because they're feeling a certain kind of way about that and they go, well, I wish I had the bollocks.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's the black sheep mentality.
Yeah.
I wish I had the bollocks to do it, but I don't. You know, like it's, and also I find that like I told everyone, don't tell anyone you're coming here. You know, because that way I don't mind me getting in trouble, but I don't want them getting in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because let's say, for example, they're leaving my house and then someone comes out and be like, you're doing this, you're fucking. 100%. I didn't want that for them. So I said, don't tell anyone you're coming, you know? And yeah, for sure, man. People in lockdown, it literally, like you said, they don't have the bollocks. And I find that they project their insecurities. Wow. That's what I learned during lockdown. So many people, their insecurities came to the surface quick. Yeah. You know, for me, like I said, I'm blessed with my family because we actually had a garden, you know, like my sisters were living in London at the time. They didn't have a garden, but they had like their house, but they had to stay in their house. You know, they lived in an apartment block, but I had a garden. So I was blessed. And personally, lockdown was fantastic, bro. Like lockdown, genuinely, like lockdown was fantastic. I did a lot of personal development. I did a lot of like value giving, like just giving back. And I deleted social media during lockdown as well. Wow. I told people, if you want to come to my house and message me on this number. And I deleted Instagram. Because I remember when lockdown first happened, it's sunny outside, summer, and I am scrolling. And I'm thinking, bro, I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything. Why am I sat inside scrolling? So I just deleted Instagram. And I had the greatest time. Me and two other friends, I learned how to fight in a park. You know, we just put gloves on and just started beating each other up in a park with this guy I met like 3 weeks before that. And yeah, honestly, you see who's your real friends. Because a lot of people got like,
amen to that.
You know what I mean, right? Like a lot of people were going through stuff and a lot of people isolated themselves. You know what I realized recently? I think it was earlier this year. The worst place they put you in prison is isolation.
Yeah.
So why are we putting ourselves in isolation for? Like willingly. It's crazy.
People are literally helping, especially during them times. They were literally holding their hands up, going, "I want to contribute to this." Whatever you want to call it, agenda. Shit show.
I
mean, look, the whole thing. When you look back at it in hindsight, the whole thing was fucked. But people like myself and you took it by the scruff of the neck and was like, right, I'm going to go against the grain here because I see the value in going against the grain. You saw it, I saw it, many other people saw it, and now we have full-time online coaching businesses off the back of lockdown.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not the only reason. However, we both saw that opportunity in lockdown and said, right, this is the time now where I just put all my eggs in one basket.
Yeah, for sure.
Because what's the worst that can happen? And now we're here.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that anyone can really replicate that because otherwise you need another lockdown, but taking the opportunity to really disconnect from all the shit on social media and say, right, what can I actually do that's going to fulfill me and do actually something positive with my day?
For sure.
Because we had nothing else to do during lockdown.
Bro, you have zero...
There was nothing else to do because you couldn't go anywhere.
Genuinely zero.
Everyone was closed.
Nothing to do, but also no real responsibilities.
No.
That was the other thing. You know, obviously you got bills to pay and stuff like that, but okay, yeah, they were... There was that food agenda that they had where everything was half price for a while.
Also, you could only buy like one packet of rice at a time.
Yeah, right. And it was like, well, everything's now technically cheaper anyway. Do you know what I mean? So like, what are you really worrying about? Get outside and look what it did for like nature as well.
Yeah.
Like nature. So it showed you, bro, you need a reset. You need to chill. You know? So yeah, that's my backstory, bro, to be honest.
Speaking about social media, you've obviously touched upon it. You deleted it. Was that because it was a distraction?
100%.
Yeah.
I was talking to my girlfriend this morning. It still is. I've got Opal on my phone. Like downloaded.
Talk to me about Opal.
Opal's fantastic. So
what does Opal do?
It doesn't, so you don't have to delete Instagram off your phone, but it shows you how much you use it, and it gives you stats on you know, like how many hours, how many days you're saving, how many days you're wasting, all of this, and it puts it into perspective, like real perspective.
That's a fucking reality
you know,
check, bro.
And then what it does is it puts like 4 or 5 barriers to entry to actually get on it. So if you, like, for example, if I need to post a story, or like when I was replying to you this morning to say like, hey, message me on WhatsApp because I can't use it, you know, like I don't want to go on it, right? So like it will put 4 to 5 barriers to entry. So you really, really have to want to go on it.
It's a chore, that, isn't it?
And then when you do, you're thinking to yourself, I went through 5 barriers to go on this just to scroll. Yeah, like, am I really that guy? Come on, there must be something else that I can do.
And how do you feel like it's impacted your level of concentration and the level of productivity that you got?
Massively, because I would say that distractions in general, I don't think you can avoid them. I think you should remove them.
Yeah, you can't. If you're trying to duck, dive, and dodge distractions, you're better off just putting yourself completely out of them. Like, I don't drink alcohol because when I put myself in an environment of drinking alcohol, it affects me in such a large capacity that the best thing is to do is just avoid it completely. For sure, yeah. Rather than it being an option, rather than it being a vice. There's a lot of people, especially like online coaches. A lot of successful online coaches, their vices are going out maybe once a month or going out once a week to release, get on drugs, drink, especially people that are bodybuilders. They do a lot, they go to raves, right? And anyone who thinks that raves are everyone sober, you're fucking retarded. But that's their vice. And then for me, I just go, wow, every time I experience any sort of alcohol exposure, it just sets me back like 4 or 5 days. Yeah, 100%. Right?
Yeah, there's no benefit. Like the social aspect of it, like for example, a lot of people will say it's liquid confidence, right? And it's like, why don't you just train confidence? It's a skill that you can train.
The thing is with confidence, people don't understand the simplicity of it. Yeah. It's a case of completing tasks that you believe, and this is where it really becomes subjective. Confidence is subjective. Yeah. It is completing tasks that you believe are going to benefit you. Yeah. What you think is going to benefit you may be different to what I think is going to benefit me. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
So this is where you could block out all the noise, you remove all the distractions, and you focus on what you believe is going to be best for you.
For sure.
And we go back to the whole black sheep mentality. Yeah. It's full circle. Yeah. You stepped away and said, right, I'm going to do what I believe is best for me. Yeah. And then everybody else around you goes, nah, Abby, that's not good. No, I don't think you should be doing that. And then you remove that distraction. And we can apply the exact same thing to social media, by the way. Yeah. Exact same thing to women, alcohol, whatever. Yeah. Right? There are many distractions. in life, okay? We're just listing the most prevalent.
Yeah.
You remove them, you build confidence because you are, in your own opinion, completing tasks that are going to better yourself.
Yeah.
That's it. And then the more confident you are, the longer you've been doing it.
Exactly.
And that's where bodybuilding comes in. That's where training comes in. Because let's say you've been training 4 or 5 times a week for 365 days. You trust yourself to go to the gym, to perform, to complete a workout.
Yeah, 100%.
You then trust yourself to be adherent to your nutrition because it's going to enable you to train harder, recover better.
Exactly.
Confidence comes from all these little tasks that you complete on a daily basis. And that's why, for me, I focus on routine, step count, nutrition, training, supplements. Like if I ask somebody to do a multivitamin, the multivitamin itself may not actually move the needle that much, but it's the promise that you keep to yourself that you take that multivitamin every single day.
Every single day, yeah.
It becomes habit.
Yeah, 100%.
And then the habit, when it's ingrained in your subconscious and you're doing it without thinking it, you can then add 3 or 4 layers of other things to it.
I call that winning on autopilot.
Yeah, winning on autopilot. You're subconsciously programming yourself to know, right, okay, wake up, this. Yeah. It's like brushing our teeth. Whoever forgets to brush their teeth, they don't.
And you feel disgusting if you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You feel disgusting. You feel a certain type of way because you're like, fuck, I haven't brushed my teeth.
You're walking around like, oh, like, where's the gun? Where's the gun?
Exactly.
Yeah,
if you applied that same mentality to training nutrition,
I do.
Bro.
Yeah, I actually do.
Well.
Yeah, that's what we do.
I just feel shit. If I like I tore my hamstring a couple of weeks ago, and I was in bed for 2 days. I felt shit.
Bro, same thing with the headbutt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, shit.
Like,
how's that getting on?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
But like in the moment,
I'm
like, come on, man. I'm in such a good routine, bro.
Yeah.
Like all you're doing is just annoying me now.
Yeah.
You know? So no, bro, 100%. I completely agree with those. And I've put, in order to help my clients understand these basic principles, I've put them into like single sentence philosophies, because a lot of people are spewing a lot of shit and it's too confusing to understand, right? So information overload, paradox of choice, all of these different things, right? You're anxious because you're like, where do I go? What do I do? So what you mentioned is confidence is simple. Is it easy? No. Right? It's simple though. You do the same thing every day, 365 days a year, right?
But it's
4 to 5 times a week.
I think it's not easy due to the simplicity, because it's simple to do. However, that can become very monotonous for a lot of people and you can get distracted.
So I say kids call it boring, adults call it discipline.
Yeah.
Because, bro, we know, like, okay, yeah, gotta go gym today, still gotta work, still gotta do this. I feel kind of down, still gotta do it.
Yeah.
You know, but it's boring doing the same 5 to 6 exercises. Bro, I built my physique doing like 6 exercises. You know, all I did was just change the systems and progressively overload it. But 6 of the same exercises, bro. You know, like there's nothing fancy about it. And that's what I love.
Yeah.
Because then I don't have to think, I can win on autopilot. Yeah. And I can put my energy into something else that really matters. Because I know for that hour and a half that I'm training, I just turn my brain off on the exercises, but I'm pushing myself because I know that in the workout I have to train hard. So people say it's therapy and I can switch off. I don't believe that, right? I think that when you go train, you still got to focus and do it correctly. You still got to focus and know what you're doing and know that you're pushing and know that you're doing this. Because a lot of people, they'll push a little bit, sit on their phone, and then it's been like 8 minutes of rest, bro.
Bullshit.
And it's like, gee, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
Right? Like, get up. You know, or you're focusing on the video and you're doing half reps, and then you go back and watch the video and you know you've done half reps. Dude, focus on the exercise itself. Be present in that moment.
Be present.
And then, right, you go back to doing whatever you're doing, right? Now you don't have to think about the form, the tempo, whatever it is. It's just there.
I just want to prick your brain about that, focusing on the workout. That is the form of disconnect that we talk about.
Yes.
Because let's say, let me give you an example. I'm not going to speak for you right now, but I'm going to speak for myself in regards to how my mental works. 24/7, I'm thinking about how I can be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the gym, I can remove the thought process of my marketing strategy, my clients, my business, my mentoring, my coaching, right? For that 1.5 hours, I put that side of my brain to one side.
Yeah.
Right? And then the other side of my brain comes out, the monster, the animal that I control throughout the day. Right, I bring that aggression to the fore and I utilize it to progressively overload, to have a little bit of therapy, internal therapy, to allow myself to release my vice, right? That's the process and that's the cycle. And I used to always be very, very stern on the subject of you should only train 3 days, 4 days a week. But from a mental capacity, I think it's really beneficial for businessmen like us to have some form of stimulus on a daily basis.
On a daily basis, yeah, for sure, 100%.
You just have to work out the fatigue that each session is going to bring.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And I'll be honest with you, mate, I used to be a bodybuilder, like 4 or 5 sessions a week, do your rest days are rest days. But now I've looked at it more like rest days need to be active rest days. They still need to be stimulating from the exercise point of view.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where maybe we're living in Bali, I don't know.
That's
where my mindset's kind of shifted, because you need that. I need that switch off. It's like, especially if I've been at the laptop for like 4 hours. Yesterday, I just had to go out and exercise and skip. Because I was at the laptop for 4 hours. Doing content.
I use a timer. It's called Pomodoro timer. And it goes for 30 minutes.
30 minutes on,
and
10 minutes off.
You can choose, right? So like I would do, for example, sometimes I'm doing handstands, I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing stretching. I might even just walk up the stairs, walk back down, like get out of the room, come back in, that kind of thing. Or like, for example, where I live now, there's a little strip, and I just walk up and down there for 10 minutes, and then I go back inside. Because also what it does is it temporarily takes you out of that funk, because when you're working you get into a funk. You're you're literally like this, and you start to like become more and more of a zombie, but then you come out of it and you go back in. Now you got like fresh thoughts again. Do you know what I mean? Right? So it's like a quick reset, you know. And also it's we can't sit for that long. Like sitting is death, you know. Like it does nothing for us, right? So like if you're a person sat behind a desk all day, 100% you're getting back pain, bro. If you're not doing these small little things throughout the day, okay, yeah, you go gym for an hour a day, right? But look at the ratio between 8 hours of sitting and 1 hour of training. You really, really think that has any effect on you, bro?
It's like long term. It's like the relationship between training and exercise.
Yeah.
Training and nutrition.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can train 1 hour in the day, but the 23 hours outside of the gym are going to move the needle far more substantially than the 1 hour.
100%. Yeah.
So when you're, like you say, going back to the sitting and the exercising standpoint, if you think just by doing 1 hour of exercise you're offsetting that desk work and you're offsetting
not at all.
But this is what I mean. People generally think, my job is done. And this is why PTs are still PTs. PTs will never go out of business, because there are that group of people who think the job is done when they go to Pure Gym, spend an hour and fuck off. Oh, that's it. I'm good to go now. I can meet Jeff tomorrow and we go again. And they think the job is done. And I personally don't understand how people have allowed themselves to think that 1 hour can offset 23 hours.
No, 100%.
Like 1 hour can offset 8 hours.
The way I teach my members how to realize this is look at what our grandparents used to do. Laborers, farmers, real work.
There's no desk jobs.
No desk jobs, bro. So they're moving all the time. But did you think they used to go to the gym? They didn't ever used to go to the gym.
Gym didn't exist.
It didn't. My dad's solid, right? Like my dad is solid, right? Never really went to the gym. Used to bang push-ups. Used to fight with his brothers. Used to literally be out in it, right? And my granddad, he owned a farm, so this guy has like bare paws, right, for hands. If you took a slap off this guy, bro, it'd knock you.
Like a power slap.
Yeah,
Seen a
bro.
power slap?
Yeah, crazy, right? Crazy.
And knocked into next week.
Do you know what I mean? And he's like walking with hay bales, like doing like, everyone's like, yeah, farmers carries and this and that. And it's like, bro, all of these exercises they were doing back then as normal day-to-day work. Do you know what I mean? Right? Like day-to-day standard. They would never sit and just scroll and sit and like, oh, I ain't got nothing to do today. If they didn't have anything to do, they would go and just like fix something or be outside or, you know, help someone do something, you know. So a lot of us that are just like, yeah, well, someone told me the other day, I said, what do you struggle with in the mornings? Getting out of bed is what they said.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, picture yourself in Gaza right now.
You'd get out of fucking bed.
You would, bro, are you stupid? Right? Like, oh, I'm all cozy and cuddled up and oh, it's just so nice, I don't want to get out of bed. Think about the level of gratitude that you should have to be in that bed, to be in the place that you are right now.
Yeah.
And you're then saying, yeah, but there's nothing for me to get out of bed from.
Oh.
Bro, there's a bomb about to drop on you. You think you're going to get out of bed?
Yeah, but I think you can take that bomb and metaphorically apply it to your life.
I do. Yeah, we do. Because we're thinking, yo, if I don't do it, then that means I'm going to get left behind. Yeah. That means I'm not going to be able to provide for my family. Means I'm not going to be able to live the life that I want. Yeah. That means I'm not going to become the man that I want to become. And those are getting us out of bed, bro.
But it's interesting you say that because, like, for me, there's probably about 4 or 5 layers. And I always say to people, you should have a reason as to why you're doing it. But there can be many reasons as to why you're doing the same thing.
Yeah, of course.
Like, for us, like, for me, bro, if we're talking about, like, where we've come from, we've both come from the UK. You're Oxford, I'm Brackley, middle of the country. When you come to a place like Bali, I don't know about you, but I wake up going, how can I absolutely guarantee that I'm never going back to the UK?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, that is one of the biggest drivers for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I've accessed, and I'm not saying that you'd even need loads of money, but we have accessed such a quality of life here that you have to wake up every day going, well, if I don't do X, Y, Z, I'm putting my very position that I've worked my fucking arse off in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And that should be, on the flip reverse, the motivation for people to leave the UK or to do something with their life. If you don't like your job and you don't like what you do and you want to do something different, no one else is going to come save you. No one else is going to come get you out of bed.
Bro. Yeah,
you have to internalize your feelings and say, listen, I need to do X, Y, Z. It's never going to even guarantee success, bro. I'll tell you what will guarantee failure is if you don't do something.
Facts.
You know, you can never say, if I do X, Y, Z, I'm going to achieve A, B, C.
Yeah.
But if you don't do X, Y, Z, you can guarantee that A, B, C never turns up.
Yep, 100%.
Ever. You know, and the reality is that people don't understand that. They just coast through life and go, something's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Muzad's going to come along and save me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, it's true. 100%. I believe everything is your fault. The reason you're here today 100%. Is your fault.
If you're a male, bro, listen, this is where you get a lot of beta males and little simp cunts, bro.
Yeah.
Like, as a man, swear down, bro. This is some real shit. A man should take responsibility.
Complete ownership.
For everything. Okay?
Yeah.
And even if it's not your fault, it is your fault.
Yeah.
Because there was probably a decision that you could have made that didn't put you in that position or didn't put a person in that position or didn't have you even jeopardizing an outcome.
Yeah.
Because you can micromanage.
Yeah.
And then when you micromanage to that level, there are so many different ways that you become better than yesterday.
Yeah.
So many different decisions. And that's where the pursuit of being better than yesterday never fucking ends, because you look at the day, right? And when I journal, right, I look at it and go, I look at about 20 decisions I've made. Go, okay, I could have done that better. Had that conversation better.
Yeah.
Introduce myself better there. Introduce myself more confidently, or introduce myself full stop.
Yeah, exactly.
We're talking about fucking little decisions during the day. Like going to the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
If you see somebody you know, or you know of, and you don't say hello to them, why? That is something that you look back and go, why did I not do that? Confidence? Okay, why are you not confident? So I'm not keeping promises to myself. Why are you not doing that? You can reverse engineer that shit.
You ask why 6 times, you get to the real answer.
Bro, you get to the fundamental cause of the issue. And I say this to my business mentees all the time. Well, why? Well, think about the consequence of the pain point, and then think about the consequence of that. Go deeper, dig deeper. And then once you get 3 or 4 layers in, there you go.
100%.
And that's what we do in terms of finding that. Because when we get people on calls, right, they probably haven't got a fucking clue what's wrong with them.
No.
But you have to be aware first before you can have action.
100%. Yeah, of course.
Because a lot of people, they don't actually understand.
No, they don't.
Until they've been given the facts on a piece of paper. A lot of people can't self-identify what's wrong with their life.
Yeah, it's true. And they haven't... We've done a lot of the internal work, right? To put the ownership on ourselves. But what making everything being your fault gives you is ownership. Because it gives you that... If something happens to me and it was your fault, you have to go and change it, right? But if I believe it's my fault, regardless of whether you're involved or not, I can go and change it. Because I believe that it was my fault, so I can do something about it. Whereas everyone else is saying, yeah, but that thing happened to me. COVID happened. It wasn't my fault. This happened. It wasn't my fault. This happened. That's them putting the blame on someone else and not taking ownership to say that I have a choice and I'm choosing results or I'm choosing excuses, right? And the only thing we don't have control over anything. But what we do have is choice. For example, COVID happened. We chose to go and do our thing. Right? We chose, I'm going to seize this as an opportunity. Whereas other people chose to submit to it. Right? Yeah. So, for example, we then worked up a little bit, and we were like, I'm going to choose to go to Bali. I'm going to choose to go and do this. Now we're out here. For example, there were people that came out at the same time as me, and they've had to go back. It's not that they chose to go back; they had to go back.
No one ever chooses to.
Do you see what I mean, right? Like they don't choose. I've got to go and do stuff back in the UK. It's like, all right, bro.
Because I'd say this right now, having just gone back.
Yeah.
No one's choosing.
No. I did it my family and friends were asking me, how long are you back in the UK? I was like, bro, 10 days max.
Do you know what? I tried to make it 5 days. It just logistically wasn't possible.
Yeah.
And I was like, 7 days is the most.
Yeah.
And I was getting out after like day 6. I was like, get me the fuck out.
If it wasn't for my family and my friends, like for example, I have a friend from the UK out here at the moment. It feels so good, bro. Like it feels so good because we spoke about it ages ago, and then now it's actually here, and he did it, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm here, I'm chilling. We'll do whatever you want to do, that kind of thing. I'm like, this feels so good because if not, I have to fly back to the UK to see them, and I don't want to fly back to the UK, but I want to see them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, right?
That's a tough decision.
So it's like, I don't want, like, there's nothing there for me apart from my family and my friends, So I try to get them to see what we're experiencing. Because when you look from the outside, it's like a lot of people, traffic this, like all of these stereotypes and things like that here, there, and everywhere. It's not really for me. But there's so many sides to Bali, man. Like when I first came out here, I remember this girl saying to me, if you don't drink and smoke, you're going to struggle in Bali. And I was like,
shut the fuck
bro,
up.
you are tapped.
Who the fuck told you that?
It was just, we were just out. And then, obviously, when you first get here, you need to go meet people, right? And she told me that. And I was like, excuse me?
What a silly bitch.
Yeah, you are lost. I was like, you came to Bali to do exactly the same thing you were doing in the UK? What are you doing, man?
That's such a waste of time.
Genuinely.
Don't come out here.
Pure waste of time.
If you think Bali's a party animal.
Nah.
You're
You're
to
lost.
fucking Thailand.
Yeah.
Thailand.
Go anywhere else.
Secure the bag, yeah?
Yeah, go anywhere else.
Go fuck the lady boys.
Yeah,
Bali's
for sure.
not.
No, it's not.
Look, if you want to look, don't get me wrong, mate. There's been that much money plowed into Bali that it's available.
Yeah.
Fuck me, bro. It's probably the 10th thing that you want to be doing. Go to fucking Sumbakima. Go to fucking Kintamani.
Bro, so many things
to do. Go to Uluwatu. Go to Nusa Dua.
So many
I
things to do.
I went to Sumbakima for my birthday, bro. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah, right?
3.5 hour drive. But like, I enjoyed the drive because there's just so much scenes. Like,
yeah, you're constantly looking out, like, what is going on around?
I'm like, I just want to stop and just soak it in.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the rice fields and like,
yeah.
Again, you get to that part of the world, bro, or you get to that part of Bali, mate, and they don't need much, bro.
No, honestly.
And everyone's so happy.
Yeah. It's genuine gratitude for what they have, and that's what I think a lot of people are missing. So the slogan that I have for my brand is grateful, never satisfied. Because I know that I'm grateful for who I am, what I've done, everything, but I know that I can do, be, and give more. So I keep doing. That's it.
It's the
and then it's like what you said earlier about how to build confidence. You got to do the small daily tasks over and over again. I personally believe that confidence is built for experience. If you haven't experienced the thing, I'm not confident in speaking Chinese. I never spoke Chinese before in my life.
Sales calls, bro. Like, imagine like you've been on a few sales calls. With the first ever sales call, I shit my pants.
Yeah, for sure. Stuttering.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
And like, there's an art to sales calls. There's an art to coaching. There's an art to speaking fucking Chinese.
Yeah.
Like, same with, bro. A great example. If we're talking about languages, is Indonesian. Like, the way I small talk now.
Yeah.
Makes Balinese people think I know fucking
Balinese. Yeah.
Because then they start just giving me this whole shit, and I'm like,
no.
I'm in too deep. 5 words.
I'm in too deep.
But again, it's the confidence.
Yeah.
Simple words articulated confidently can make you seem more knowledgeable, can make you seem more articulate. Because people don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you become an expert in saying 10 phrases in Indonesia, it's probably enough.
No, it is, for real. Yeah, honestly. You need to know enough to get by here, because everything else, especially in Indonesia, is all like context of the energy that you're getting from the person, context of the conversation, right? And a lot of the Indonesian language is so incredibly simple anyway. For example, if you want to say faster, cepat is fast, and then if you want to say faster, you just say it twice. Cepat.
It's like bike,
right?
bike.
Yeah.
So if you say how are you,
Yeah. Yeah.
say bike, bike.
Yeah.
Which basically double pronouncing the bike just means
It's like
good.
really good.
Yeah, it's good.
Do you know
really
what I mean?
good.
Really good. Yeah.
Like, or sanga bagus, sanga bagus.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So again, like, it's very, when you understand the simplicities of it, it takes you very far.
100%.
People, I will
And they
say
respect
this,
it as well.
You literally stole the words out of my mouth. When you literally take the time to understand 5 phrases, you make the Indonesians and Balinese people's day here.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they love it.
Yeah, for sure.
They're just bright as their day.
Yeah.
And like, imagine in the UK if that was it's just not happening.
No, definitely not.
You know, people are just
they're very ignorant about their
the level of
English
expectation
language.
in the UK is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. You know, I again, like, coming back from the UK, mate. I could sit here all day and tell you how fucking shit it is, but at the end of the day, the reality is that's why we're here. That's why we're living in Bali, because we're the masters of our own fate, and we've chosen to understand, and we've made a choice to say, right, we are in control. We have 2 choices every day. Do we make today harder and tomorrow easier, or do we make today easier and tomorrow harder?
Yeah, true.
You have that consistent dialogue in your head about it. You know, I want to ask you one final question before we wrap it up. So, obviously, you've got Creed.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to describe the best version of yourself and how that looks.
Best version of myself.
In general, as a man, if we're looking at how do men become the best versions of themselves, describe that for me.
Pure accountability to start with. Like I said, everything is your fault. Yeah. And then doing the small daily actions. A lot of people think you got to take a huge leap. That's really not true. Small daily actions, I say 1% better every single day, right? And then that's it, right? And then with doing that, you build some confidence. But I know and understand that healthy competition is what builds men. Mm-hmm. Not comparison and not doing this and not doing that. But for example, having a brotherhood of people around you that genuinely want to see the best for you, and they will call you out on your bullshit and you will call them out on their bullshit, and you hold each other accountable, because a lot of men, they're doing it in isolation. They're doing it by themselves, right? And that's what is pushed a lot. But really and truly, I think you, first of all, have to hold yourself accountable, and then you have to be around good, strong men that you can all rise together with. Yeah. Right? It's very important in the development of a man, for sure, because you all have each other's back, but you all will have down days, right? It's very normal. But when you're winning, everyone's happy for you and you're happy for them, you know, and it breeds this energy of progress.
Productivity.
Yeah, right? Like it just starts to fly. Everything just starts to do well.
I feel like, just touch on that, I feel like when a man can see something can be done, it inspires you to achieve it quicker.
Of course,
when you can see it being done. And like, I actually had this conversation with my missus the other day. That my upbringing, no one's successful in my family. Mm-hmm. So to be able to be in a position now, we were looking back at it and reflecting on it and going, it's almost a miracle, because I had no CEO father, I had no successful father. My dad was retired in a wheelchair. My mum worked 16 hours at Tesco's.
Mad.
To grow up in that family environment where there's no beacon of success. Success is not the beacon. It's like, it's mediocrity is the beacon.
Survival.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, yes, we're not living without, but we can't have X, Y, Z, because it's simply not possible. Yeah. You know, and again, like going back to the brotherhood, if you can see 5 other people making £10,000 a month, or 5 other people making 10 pieces of content,
for sure.
You then aspire to be having that level of productivity, that level of output. And then that output from you breeds output from the other lads, and it's just boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. It's also about learning, right? Because in that environment, for example, I live with two of my friends, and one of them does sales and one of them does marketing, and I do fitness. So we help each other. It's like, bro, it's crazy. You know, it's actually amazing. Yeah, you know, for example, I'll be like, guys, I've got a question. I want to run this project. How do you think I should do it? And then they'll come to me and be like, bro, I think I want to cut weight. How do you think I should do it? Right? And it's like, they've got the answer there and then, you know. So technically, you've made money just by knowing this person. Yeah. You've achieved your potential just by knowing this person, you know. And it gets you indoors. It gets you in places that you never thought you would go, right? And I'm telling you now, that comes from doing the inner work on yourself. Like, solitude is very important. In 2024, I spent a lot of time by myself because I realized you only attract the energy that you put out. 100%. So if bad things are happening to you, it's because you're either not respecting yourself, or there is something in you that is not been solved and it needs solving, and it's showing you. Your reality is showing you. And you need to go and address it, because it will just keep showing up. When you address it, magic happens.
Do you know what? It's very simple, right? When you address it, it bounces off you differently. Let's say when you make the conscious effort to address something that's happening in your life, the process of accepting it, digesting it, analysing becomes so much easier, rather than just deflecting it and waiting for it to come another day. Because it will arrive again.
Yeah, 100%.
But then when you take ownership of it, then you can actually do something about it and actually progress and move forwards, rather than it just becoming a stupid cycle that happens over and over again. And that's the thing. When people are stuck in cycles, bro, that's the real hamster race that people 100%. Can't have.
I'm sure you see this as well, right? With your clients and things like that, is that they suffer more in imagination than they do in reality. Yeah. And I teach this a lot, and this is a Stoic philosophy, right? That's been around for years. All of these problems in your head are just in your head, right? I'm training someone for a half Ironman, and she's like, "Oh, it's 16 weeks away. I'm not even gonna do it. This, that." And I was like, "It's 16 weeks away. That means it's not even real." Yeah. Until the day of, it's not real.
You need to do before then.
Yeah.
You have to focus.
Right? Like, stop. Genuinely, focus on today, and then when tomorrow comes, focus on today, and then when tomorrow comes, focus on today.
That's why I've got a social media manager, mate. Because I literally take day by day.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, if my hamstring tear taught me anything, bro, from one day to the next, you could have good health, bad health.
Yeah, instantly.
You never know when today is your day. Right? And if you have that attitude, right, I'm just going to do what I can, do the very best I can with every 24 hours I get.
Yeah, for sure. That's actually all we have.
Bro, right? Every single day, you wake up, okay, what can I do to be better than yesterday? What can I do to maximise on the 24 hours that I've been presented? Right? Then, you go to bed, wake up, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, for sure. But most people think that's boring, right? Whereas we think it's discipline. Do you see what I mean? And that's the difference between people that don't make it and people that do.
Wow, listen, if somebody's version of boring is living in Bali, and
yeah, genuinely, right?
I'm bored as fuck.
Yeah, I'll stay bored.
Bro, I'm bored as fuck, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
But listen, that's a great way to wrap up this podcast. Obviously, if you guys want to follow Ibi, you are Ibrahim Ramsey on
Ibrahim _Ramsey with 2 Y's. YouTube, I do, but I don't actually post on it.
That's the next thing.
It's 100%. That's going to be the next thing. I wrote it down this morning, actually. Like, make some YouTube content.
It's difficult. That's again why I've got a social media manager, because I'm trying to battle on these fronts, bro, and I've got 2 businesses.
Yeah,
it's hard.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
juggling. Because I'm trying to be a business owner. I'm trying to be a business mentor. I'm trying to be an online coach. And then I've got to be like, oh fuck, I've got all this
content
stuff to
creator. Yeah, for sure.
I just get lost, bro. There's only so many things that you can put on your plate before you drop the plate.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. It's like juggling balls. But we speak about how many balls you can juggle.
Yeah.
And your opinion on how many balls you can juggle in the next one. Because that is, I think, that's another skill that you can master.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
Because like you start off with 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 10, and then you realise 12's your max. Then you go back to 10. But listen, that'll be for the next episode. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to check Ibi out, I'll put the link to his Instagram down below. This has been another episode of a Physique Podcast. Thank you very much for listening.